Do you know that this idea started in somebody's head? And if you know this one secret to selling art, you're gonna have a huge advantage over other artists. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna show you what that secret is. If you're a comic book artist, I got 3 tips later that you gotta hear. Hang on. I never used to believe in karma. But when you set a plan for failure, you're not ready for success. How did I know that there were thousands of people out there just like me, all over the world? Doctors in emergency rooms sending me messages telling me how they started their novel because they saw a video of mine. A 17-year-old kid who DM'd me saying he doesn't draw anymore because his dad said something negative to him. After I saw his work, I told him his dad's an idiot. And now he's drawing again. How did I know that these things were gonna happen? That I was actually gonna affect people? But rest assured, I'm the right man for the job. Hey, do you guys know that the whole Shadow Artiste brand was built on an old set of comic books? These are my last 3 boxes. I sold 4 boxes early this year to raise money to build this. This camera I'm talking to was bought from a set of old comic books that I've had for, God, 40 years, 45 years. Anyway, I'm selling the last 3 boxes and just to get a final push because it looks like things are happening around here. All right? So anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about something really important today. When I grew up, like when I was 16 or 17, I used to hear about this guy, Ozzy Osbourne. He used to bite heads off bats and just run around like a freak. And we'd be like, holy shit, who the hell is this guy? Biting heads off bats. So we'd go, you know, whatever, hey, you want to hear his album? Then we'd put it on and it would be like Randy Rhoads just ripping. And he would be like coming out with these like creepy lyrics and everything. It was awesome. I fucking loved it. But it probably didn't even happen. He probably didn't even bite a head off a bat. I don't even know, to tell you the truth, because that's not the point. The point is, the reason why we were interested, listen to me. If someone came up to you and said, hey, you want to listen to Ozzy Osbourne, the musician? You'd be like, nah, it's okay, man, I'm good. And he'd be like, okay, see you later, all right, bye. It's because there's a story. There's a story. That's the most important thing, guys, with everything. Look, a couple of months ago or a month ago, I made a video and I mentioned Yoko Kusama, the artist, the Japanese artist. People freaked out. My comment section was full of like, she has a mental disorder, she's challenged, this and that. And it's like, okay, you know what, guys? That's her story. You get it? You're so emotionally involved in her story. The people that manage her, the PR people and the representatives, they're smart, man. They know. In the bio, they make sure to tell you that fact so that you know the story. So when you go see the art, you're like, it's just more effective. Okay? You can't just be Jim Bob over there with a painting. It ain't gonna sell, man. Look, there's a reason why story is really, really important. Let me put this down. I don't even know where the hell I'm going with this. Look, story and songs was the way we used to pass information through generations for millions and millions of years. We've only known to write and read like maybe for 1,000 years, and only in little areas of the earth. Like up until now, it's been stories and tales. Gather around the fire as the grandfather tells you stories. And in those stories are lessons. The Aboriginal Native Indians here in Canada, the elders tell the kids in the tribe stories and songs and make sure that they learn them. And in the stories and songs is how to survive in a forest. Isn't that crazy? So if you know the story, it's like having a survival a manual in your head. That's how long we've been connected to story. That's the most important thing. Story trumps visual art. Okay? Here, take a look at this. This is the most popular comic right now. One Punch Man or something, Super Punch Man or something. Look, guys, the art's not that good. It's all about the story. And also, if you're going to do art, it's got to have a story in it. Like Jim Lee, John Buscema, Frank Frazetta. Guys, I used to look at Frank Frazetta when I was a kid. I used to look at these paintings for hours. And I would have a whole story in my head about what happened. Oh, he must have like slaughtered 100 guys, and then the princess was there, or some like, happened to be in a bikini and super hot all the time. But it's male fantasy art, right? It is what it's supposed to be. It's right on the dot, right? So as a kid, when you see this type of stuff, there's a story going on in your head. It's not just a person standing there posing in superhero trunks like he's in a fashion magazine or something. So make sure that your art tells a story. And not only your art, but you tell a story too. So wrap story around everything, all right? I gotta take pictures of these books. Anyway, while I do that, I'm gonna give you 3 tips that's gonna improve your chances of success, okay? This isn't only for comic book artists, but it applies to everybody. Let's go. All right, tip 1. You guys are gonna hate me for this, but like a tough dad, I'm gonna give you some tough love, okay? Look, when we were kids, we all did this. As soon as we got our comic books, we started drawing, and first thing we did is we invented our own superheroes, right? We all did that. We imagined whatever, and then eventually the inevitable happens. You end up drawing Batman and the Joker and Spider-Man. Look, guys, you're not gonna want to hear this, but no more Jokers. No more Joker pictures, no more Batman, no more Spider-Man, whatever the hell, man. Listen to me, okay? Don't spend your time advertising another company. These guys, Warner Brothers, Disney, whatever, listen. They own the rights to artists and families that have probably been ripped off, guys. These guys are long gone. They've been probably scammed, whatever. These guys, listen. Warner Brothers and Disney are interested in buying action figures for $2 from China and selling them to you for $29.99. I'm not even exaggerating, man. Okay, listen to me. If you're going to get like a new set of markers or something and you want to test them out, you want to draw the Joker and post it, no problem, bro. Like for practice, you can draw your superheroes. You don't own them. Don't go advertise somebody else. Okay, that's just stupid. Think about it, man. They don't need your money. You need money. Okay? So think about yourself. All right? I'm not saying you can't go watch a movie and buy this and that, but don't go spending money on these guys. Okay? Spend money on supplies, spend money on courses, spend money on getting in communities that are gonna help you get to where you have to go. Okay? I know, it sucks. Invent your own people. Instead of drawing the Joker, draw a crazy clown. At least it's your own, right? Anyway, guys, I know you hated to hear that one, but anyway. Oh yeah, one more thing. Think about this. These companies are scraping the bottom of the barrel in comic book IPs. I was around in the 90s and I saw comic books come, go, they failed. They were shit. And they're friggin' movies now. Listen to me. Work on your own IP. Work on your own intellectual property. In 20, 30 years, these producers, these Netflix producers, they don't have any creativity. They don't have an inch of creativity. They're gonna need guys like you to bring the next versions. What's the next Lord of the Rings? What's the next Star Wars? What's the next Marvel Comics? That's what you should be working on. Okay, I just thought I'd add that in there because it's important, guys. Seriously, let's go. Okay, guys, tips for comic book artists. Tip 2. Wait a second. Here's Howard the Duck, number 1. Just thought I'd show you. Anyway, look, what I would recommend for comic book artists to do on social media is not just draw random pictures and put them up. Okay? If you can, hook up with a writer, or you can write. It would be best to do 3 panels telling a little story every day than it would just to be drawing a picture. A picture can only get you like a 7 out of 10, unless you're like a master, right? Unless you're like the 1%, like I showed you before, the Frank Frazettas, the Jim Lees and stuff. But if you want to be a comic book artist, you got to tell stories. That's what comic book artists do. They don't just draw covers of superheroes posing. Look, if there was 2 kids that came to me and they asked me for advice, and this is what I told them. One of the kids went off. He started drawing stories every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on social media, a full page, 3-page stories every week. The other kid just started drawing pictures, posted 3 a week too. Which kid, after a couple of years, is going to have more followers? It's common sense, guys. The kid with the story. We're born for stories. The kid with the stories, drawings don't even have to be good. And he's probably going to get a bigger following because he can get that a little emotional edge. He can make someone smile. He can make somebody sad. It's the emotional connection that's going to make it. Right? So remember that. Tip 3 is a really important one, especially nowadays. Look, guys, we're heading into the AI future. Okay? You know what this means? You can go on a computer and you can say, hey, make me a Batman comic book. You know what it's going to do? It's going to go out into the internet. It's going to amalgamate all the Batman books ever made, all the stories ever made, and it's going to make this middle. Okay? That's what AI is going to do. It's going to aggregate everything into the center. Now, it is more important now to be human than it's ever been before. AI can't be human. We have to tell human stories. That's what's going to separate you. You can't be in the center. The stories you tell, you got to be on the edges. That's our job as artists. We have to be on the edges. You got to be like, what's that thing that the girls want? Vulnerable. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be pissed off. Good art is made pissed off. And you got to piss people off too. Because the aggregate center, the AI, doesn't want to piss anybody off, doesn't want to be offensive. It wants to be the safest, most. You can't do that, guys. That's what's going to separate your story from everything. I can go on AI right now and say, hey, write me a story, man. It's going to be it's not going to be good, but it's our job to be humans. Now is the time to be human more than ever. Okay? Like, look at this lady. Look, seriously. This lady here, she was 55 years old, broke. She was a writer. She taught herself how to draw. And she's now, this book sold over $5 million in copies. Okay, at 55 years old. So we all got hope, guys, okay? Because she's telling a human story. That the drawings really aren't even that important. Like I said before, story trumps visual art. Every time. And I'm an artist. I'm not a writer. So I'm just saying, the truth is the truth. And that's it. We just got to deal with the truth and we got to move on. All right? Okay, guys. Hope that helped you, those tips. Okay, let's go. All right, so there you go. Remember, incorporate story into your art business in every aspect. Stories about you. Make sure your art tells a story. That's what gets to the root of people's hearts. That's when you really, really matters, right? And if you're an artist, just make sure to draw your own shit, make stories about it, and make sure they're human stories, okay? Because they're for humans. You're not a robot. All right? Okay, guys. Remember, story is number one. It trumps visual art, unfortunately. But we got to deal with it so we can incorporate it, all right? Let's go. It's a weird feeling when you find your purpose in life. It's like everything just gets calm and you feel no matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay. Now you guys, I'm worried about. I want to give a shout out to the people on my Discord, keeping the positivity and the spirit of Shadow Artiste alive. JMA Draws, Chris Gecko, Mira, Oil Monster, and V. Thanks, guys. And thanks for everybody who even put a thanks in my comments. I read it. It meant something. Well, I guess karma is real after all. John Lennon was right.